He's motherfucking. He's something funny. He thinks he's awesome.
Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking Lance Meister. I'm here to talk to you about this game, Interregnum. Interregnum is a game that is coming out from the same folks that brought you Alchemy, a game that I talked about a year ago or so that I really enjoyed. And this is a card game that is about resource collection and backstabbing and negotiation and grinding your opponents into a fine red mist as you slowly but surely claim the title of king. Now, if that excites you, that's kind of like when I heard about the game, that was kind of what it was described to me about. It is a lot of fun. There is a ton of interplayer conflict and interplayer communication and negotiation that goes on in the game. Some things I really, really enjoy, and so I knew I was going to enjoy it, and I enjoyed it. I have, so let me show you how to play Interregnum. It shouldn't take too long, but it is a pretty cool game and has some cool little tricks up its sleeve. And then we'll come back here and I'll talk to you more about this. Alright, cool. Alright, if you were playing a game of Interregnum, this is probably what you'd see at the beginning of the first game you played. You have the tableau of cards available to you as you're going to be purchasing these cards to put them into your hand so you can use them to improve your little portion of the kingdom. You will have a player board in front of you. Everybody will have one of these. I didn't set one up for all the players because, well, that would take up a lot of room and it'd be pointless. But and then there will also be, all your different resources over here that you'll be collecting: influence, food, soldiers, favor, and money. The favor is the most important theoretically because the person with the most favor at the end of the game wins the game. You will be given these title cards. Everybody starts out as a landed knight, and hopefully by taking obligations and successfully holding on to them, you will improve to like a baron, viscount, count, marquis, and then duke. At the beginning of the landed knight, you really don't get anything for being a landed knight, but like as a baron, he gets +1 favor around and 1 bonus favor at the end of the game. Then +2, +3, +4, +5, and 16 bonus favor for the Duke at the very end. If you go up with a title, you just take it and move it up like so. If you lose a title, same deal. Right back down to landed knight, hopefully not landed knight. And I'll explain how that works here in just a few moments. Everybody will start with the hand of 5 basic level 1 cards for each spot that's on their tableau: family, village, court, wealth, and army. Each one of these is the basic action that you have available to you, and then you have an extra one called construct, and the construct card is what allows you to actually improve and get the better level cards. Each one of these decks is either level 2 or level 3. You'll see these little symbols. There'll be 2 symbols and 3, and so on and so forth. And so you have to have a level 2 before you get a level 3. You can't skip the level 2 cards. But once you have a level 2, then you can get all the level 3s you want, if you so desire. Though that probably won't be a really good process. You'll notice that the family cards are separated into 4 different decks. That's because you get to take any one of those. The family cards are interesting because what they do is they allow you to play a second card of a type that is down here, or you have the basic one that just gains you +1 favor when you use it. That is the only time you ever get to play a card that doesn't match the spots. Normally, if you have an army card, you have to play the army card here. You can't play it on the court. You can't play it in the village. However, if you get, say, a knight, you activate a single army development on this card. So when you play a knight on that spot, you then would immediately get to, if you have an army card, you get to play it on there. And then the knight does that. A merchant is for wealth. Courtier, or courtier, or whatever it is for a court, obviously. And then the landowner is for a village card. So, this is a game that you pick a first player, and then at the beginning of each turn, you will leapfrog that first player marker to the next person down. And so, that is something that it doesn't say the first player in the entire game. On the beginning of a round, the first player will take one of their cards, and they will put it in one of their spots. Once you put something in your spot, you can't use it again. So, like, let's say you had, 2 nobles cards, or kind of should say court cards, and you played your nobles there, and then later you said, I want to play my courtesan. Well, you can't just cover it up. Once it's used up, it's used up. Now, if you played that and you had the courtier, you could then play that card and put that one on top, as I explained earlier. So, here, put that back. Once each person, once everybody's can't play any more of these cards, then you will then go on to the last portion of the round, which is the obligations, which I'll explain in a second. But just taking a real step back, I just want to kind of maybe go into this a little bit further. So when you play a card, say like you have like the serfs, like the serfs it says +2 food or trade 1 food for 1 gold. So when you play the serfs in the village, you immediately would take that bonus. So you would take your 2 drumsticks here, and you would collect that resource and you'd put it aside. Every single resource in the game is used for something, and it isn't, and it's always, you're using it mostly in some sort of conjunction, some sort of function that you want to get more favor. It maybe is a 2 or a 3 step process, but that's kind of the fun part of the game, is looking at your cards and saying, if I play this, that will gain me some favor, and then or some influence, which is this token here, and if you get that influence, say you have the black market, so for 1 influence you can get 7 gold, and then I'm going to take that 7 gold, and then I am going to get an obligation that will give me an increase to my title or something like that. And so you have that little connection, if you will. It should mention that anytime, actually, I was getting mad at myself. I always do that. But with the obligations, if they aren't claimed, you do put a point of favor on them to make them more attractive, if you will. But if there's ever a time when there's 3 or more favor for some reason, I don't know how it would be more, but if there's 3 or more favor on a obligation, that obligation is then discarded. But once again, I got ahead of myself. Let's take a step back quick. So basically what you do then is you play the cards and you take the actions that are available to you. Some of them have different options, like the infantry. Gives you either +1 soldier, or you can do an attack. Now, with attacks, once you play it, you can attack as much as you want, as long as you can pay the cost for the attack. And so, with infantry, the cost is 1 soldier. And if you can just pick somebody, and you can either take 1 food or 2 gold from them, or you can destroy one of their soldiers. And that's something you can do to actively throw a monkey wrench into somebody else's plans. Some of them, some of them don't, like scouts is a military, but you get +2 soldiers, and then move any unclaimed development to the bottom of this pile. Now you might be wondering why you want to do that. Well, so that segues pretty perfectly into the construct action. Now, when you play the construct, you put it down. So in family, what you do then is you just take one of those 4 cards and you just pick. But on any of the other 4, you either have to take a level 2 if you don't have a level 2 already, or if you have a level 2 card in your hand already, you can take a level 3, but you can also take the level 2 if you so desire. But the trick here is that you have to take the top card. So if I was going to court and I wanted to, and I didn't have a level 2 card, my only option would be either to take the card that's on top, which is this courtesan, or you can take that card, put it in the back, and then you have to take the next one. So you get the spy. And so, maybe you'll get something better than the one that you just discarded, maybe you won't, but you have to take that one. And then you actually slide the card behind your construct card, because you don't get to activate the card at that moment. However, at the end of the round, you will collect those cards and put them in your hand, and then the spy would be available for you the next turn that you could play it on the court location on the card. Other than that, like I said, the only other different situation is that you play a different card on top of another card, is activating those. I should mention, if you do have a thing that says to trade. So like this card says trade 1 influence will get you 3 gold. So if you play this, the person who is trading will say, I'm trading 3 influence for, because they have 3 influence. I'm going to trade 3 influence for 9 gold, and they announce that. Now immediately, another player could say, you know what, I want that 3 influence. I'm going to give you that 9 gold. And unless there is a superseding rule, and some of the cards allow you this, to do this, prevent this, you have to give them that 3 influence, and they have to give you that 9 gold. Now, if nobody takes you up on that offer, then you can go ahead and say, you can still get it from the bank. The bank will still trade it out. But that is a way for a player to take that and help them out. Now, if 2 people that you're playing say, no, I want that too, then those 2 players then will negotiate with the person that's initiating the trade. This is one of those fun parts, or they can say, I'll give you 10 gold. Well, I'll give you 11 gold. Well, you know what? I'll give you 11 gold and a soldier. And at that point, everything other than trading cards or stuff, but with resources, you can just sit there and say, I'll go ahead and do this. You can even add whatever you want, like I want to attack you next round or things like that. Of course, those aren't binding. You have to trust that person to follow through with that. But the only other difference to that is that if somebody tries to you don't have to take less, let's put it that way. So if somebody says, I want to trade you, but I'm only going to give you 7 gold instead of the 9 that you're supposed to get, you can say, no, I'm just going to take it from the bank. But if you want to, because you're trying to help that person out or something like that, there's nothing stopping you from taking less gold for that situation. But I don't know why you would, but you definitely have that option available to you. Alright, so that's the cool part about trade. It's one of my favorite parts of the game, but I'll talk about more of that in the conclusion. So the final thing is the obligation phase, and then what happens then is that if you have any obligations and that require upkeep, you have to pay for them at that moment. If you can't pay the upkeep for the obligation, you lose the obligation. And if the obligation increased your title, you immediately lose the title at that time. When the obligation then is put down on it isn't returned up to the top, it's kind of put off to the side. So let's say, you have this one. The obligation is to conquer territory. And the claim bonus is pretty good, +5 favor, construct a village, development immediately. You have a claim cost, 3 soldiers and 4 money. So the upkeep for here is nobody would claim this, because when somebody loses one and you gain it back, you don't get the claim bonus. That's actually not going to be very helpful. So let's pick a better one. So here we have supply of the royal banquet. Notice there's a crown on here, meaning that if you have this, or if you took it, it increased your title by 1. So the upkeep is 4 food, and you cost 5 food to claim it, but the upkeep bonus is it gives you 3 favor return for 4 food. So you can't pay this anymore, and so you put it off to the side. Now, everybody else then now can say, well, if one person says, I can pay the upkeep, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to pay that, and I'm going to claim the obligation that you lost. If more than one person can pay for it, then the person that lost it gets to decide out of those 2 people or 3 people or whatever who gets it. And then you have the option of bribing. You can say, okay, I'll give you 2 gold, just pick me. I'll give you a soldier, just pick me. And that is another really fun negotiation part of the game that I really enjoy. If no one takes one that you lose, you actually have to take a -5 points token, which is harsh. And a lot of times, of course, when I play it, and my friends, they will purposely not do that and agree, everybody, don't take it, give them the -5 points, and usually to me too, because I don't know, my friends are jerks. But regardless, that is that portion. Now, after you've paid all the upkeep, now that is when you can take another obligation. Now, some obligations don't have any upkeep, like Subdue Rebellion. They have a ton of food. You have to pay 16 food, and you gain 3 influence and 5 favor for doing that. And so you'd take the claim bonus for that. Some of them, it's like you can purchase a title, but you lose 3 penalty. You lose 3 favor for doing it, but if you do it early enough, because of the favor that you gain from having a higher level of title, you're probably going to pay off that favor in the end. So some of them don't have any upkeep, and then you don't really have to worry about losing those. And some of them are, have like ongoing effects. Like this one, supply war effort. You have to give it 4 food and 3 soldiers, and 2 food every turn to upkeep it. But every turn an opponent attacks you, they lose a favor. So it makes the people not want to attack you. So the game continues for 8 rounds. After the 8th round, whoever has the most favor wins the game. If there happens to be a tie, then whoever has the highest title wins the game. And if somehow 2 people are tied with favor, and they are tied with the title as well, this is actually part of the rules. I'm going to read it verbatim for you. In the event of a continued tie, the kingdom falls into chaos as the regent is unable to decide his successor. He loses his grip on the lesser nobles, whose politicking and backbiting turns into outright war, destabilizing the kingdom. Noting the opportunity, the kingdom's foreign enemies choose now to strike, crushing the realm already racked by a terrible civil war. All the nobles are slain, all is lost, and the nation is plunged into a dark age. No one wins. So that's a great part of the rules. But all right, let me tell you more about this game and why I've enjoyed it in my conclusion. All right, so Interregnum. That was how to play the game. I talked about it in the introduction or whatever. I kind of spoke to the game a little bit as far as the negotiation part and the interplayer conflict. I dig card games. I like games where like I have different cards that affect other cards, and I'm able to build little chains and things like that. And and people always say, well, why don't you like deck building games? Because that's kind of like one of the things. But I don't like the whole process of like shuffling the cards and figuring out which ones I get to use. I don't like that. I like this one because of the fact that as I get cards, I just have this giant hand of cards, and I get to figure out which ones interact really well with each other. And it's also one of those games, too, since it only lasts 8 rounds. So think about that for a second. You're really only getting a certain number of extra cards in your hand. You're not really able to get a ton. And, so new cards as far as the new developments that you get to make, and then the obligations, and you have to find ways for those to intermix and work together to create some good little seesaw back and forth action going on there. And because of the limited amount of time, this is one of those games where it's like you don't have a ton of time to build a little card engine together. You have to kind of be extremely efficient in your decision making and in your options and in your choices, and that's what kind of makes the game fun for me is the limited, because there isn't a lot of choices that you make, so the gravitas of each one of those choices is very heavy. You have to make sure that you don't kind of waste any of those actions that you get, since you don't really get a ton of them, and a lot of them are very repetitious. I mean, you will have situations where it's like you just won't ever get like a better wealth card. You'll just have that same one the entire game, and you'll be fine, because you'll just have good army cards that work really well with your court cards, so to speak. And that's one of those things where, and then the next time you come into it, the cards that are going to be available to you are going to be different, because of the fact that like when the card shows up at the top of the deck, there's no guarantee that it's going to get around to you, that it's not going to be taken or pushed to the bottom of the deck, and so you never get to use it anyway. And so that opens up a lot of different replayability and a lot of, like I said, frustrating moments, but good frustration. The frustration that challenges you to play the game better each time that you approach it. Now, that being said, that's awesome, but what makes the game the most fun for me is the open talking, the confrontation, the discussions, the negotiation, the oaths of vengeance that my gaming group emits when you get attacked, or when you process the actions that you're doing. And this is one of those games, and I know a lot of people probably don't play games like this. They probably have I think this is I don't know, being a poor sport, if you will. But this is one of those games that you know, especially like my friend Craig, and my buddy Jason, they're the ones that are just like, you got to get that guy, you got to get him, you got to take that, you got to attack him. Why are you attacking me? Why are you attacking me? Or if they see he's got more favor than everybody, we all got to gang up on him, you know. And so, and then that person, of course, has to defend themselves against those you know, screams of them being the front runner, if you will, and you know, and it's that fun aspect of kind of exerting your will on the other people at the table and trying to convince them that no, I'm not the one that you need to worry about. It's them. They're the ones that are going to win the game. You just leave me alone. I'll just do my thing over here. I'm just going for like second place, which, you know, is total BS. But that's the kind of game that I like, and this is the game that supplies that atmosphere and that level of fun. Plus, like I said, even if you're playing the game totally straight and, you know, no reactions and no table talk, the game's a lot of fun and very challenging. Like I said, trying to you know, juggle the upkeep for the obligations while still trying to improve yourself at the same time, and you know, also the whole process of you know, choosing which cards go well together. It just, I had a ton of fun with it, and I think if you're one of those people that enjoy building that short-term card engine, I think you're going to really enjoy this one. And it doesn't hurt that the theme, the cards and the look and everything else fit the theme to a T. So there you go. That was Interregnum. If you have any questions about it, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. If you you know, want to ask me about anything other than the game, I suppose you could do that as well. But as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, this was the Undead Viking telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.